In the Middle Ages, there was a boy named Jack living in a small village. Jack loved reading, and he read a lot about the giants. One day, his mother left him an old story about the giants before she passed away. Jack read the story with interest and learned from it that the priests in ancient times made magical seeds in an attempt to reach the gods. They threw the seeds into the ground, and long, strong roots grew. When the seeds matured, they rose to the sky, and the priests reached what they thought was the gate of heaven. But what they saw was something terrifying. They saw a race of giants, giant and savage creatures. The giants did not stop at killing the priests, but used the roots to reach the earth. They destroyed everything in their path and stole the treasures. And after they took everything they wanted, they decided to try the taste of human flesh. After that, we see Queen Trau read the same story to her daughter Isabel. She told her that the leader of the giants had 2 heads, and his name was Valen. The queen continued the story, saying that there was a king named Eric. The monks forced to use magic to find a way to control the giants. So they made a magical crown. As soon as the king put the crown on his head, the giants became under his control, ordered them to return to their original place, which had become more like a prison between the sky and the earth, cut the roots of the tree. In this way, he managed to restore peace to his kingdom. The tree seeds remained with the king throughout his reign. When the king died, the crown and the seeds were placed in his coffin. The giants swore that they would return to the earth one day, and they would never leave it. After 10 years, we see Jack and his uncle, who adopted him after his father's death. His uncle asked him to take the horse and sold it in the city. Jack took the opportunity and went to watch a play that told the story of King Eric and the giants. Jack saw 4 men trying to steal a golden bracelet from a girl inside. He tried to stop them, but the royal guard intervened. It was clear that the girl was the princess, and the entire crowd bowed before her. After that, a person named Roderick and his assistant Wick. Wick told Roderick that the king was looking for him because his daughter had escaped. It was clear that Roderick would be her future husband. Roderick was looking for the magic beans. He entered a secret room and found that the grains had disappeared. But when he searched for the crown, he found that it was still there. It was clear that he was trying to free the giants and control them. After Roderick realized that the beans had disappeared, he ordered the guards to close the city gates. Then he began to search for the person who stole them. The thief was one of the priests, who stole it to protect the country from Roderick. Jack saw him and started negotiating with him to exchange the horse for the beans. At first, Jack refused, but the priest eventually convinced him. Jack told him that he must keep the beans away from moisture, then took the horse and fled. The guards pursued the priest, but they couldn't find him. The princess went to her father, who was upset with her for escaping from the palace again. He told her that he would marry her to Roderick, but she refused. Jack returned home with the beans, but his uncle was angry with him for his foolishness. When Jack offered the seeds to his uncle, he threw them on the ground. When Jack bent down to gather the seeds, one of the seeds fell into a small hole in the ground. His uncle left him and went out of the house angry. On a stormy night, Princess Isabel escaped from the palace. She felt lost and dissatisfied with her father's decision to marry her to Roderick, a harsh and powerful man. At the same time, Roderick and his companion Wick were interrogating the priest who had stolen the magic beans. The priest refused to confess to anything, so they killed him. Isabel saw the light emanating from Jack's house. She was lost and exhausted, so she headed towards it. When Jack opened the door, he found Isabel in front of him. She asked him to stay in his house until morning because she didn't know where to go. The rain was falling from the roof, and the water was approaching the beans that fell from the hole in the ground. Jack realized that Isabel was the princess, so he bowed before her. She asked him to rise and told him her name. As they spoke, the water reached the beans. The beans began to move, then emerged from the bottom of the house and began to destroy the place. The beans threw Jack out of the house, and he watched as they grew until they reached the sky. Jack tried to open the door to enter the room where Isabel was, but the beans were rapidly spreading everywhere, clinging to the house as it rose into the air. Jack was afraid of heights, and when Isabel opened the door for him, the threshold broke under him, and Jack fell to the ground unconscious. The next day, Jack woke up and found the king in front of him. Jack told him what had happened, and the king ordered the captain of the guard, Elmont, to climb the beanstalk and rescue the princess. Roderick and Wick also volunteered to climb with the captain of the guard. They began climbing, and the ascent was extremely difficult. They had to face many difficulties, such as strong winds and thorny trees. They reached the end of the part they were climbing. Elmont took the hook and threw it onto the second trunk. Jack came to cross behind Elmont, but he fainted. Luckily, he reached the other side, and at night, the weather was stormy. They continued to climb, but Roderick, without Elmont's knowledge, cut the rope with his men and killed 6 of them. The next day, they woke up and saw that they had reached the top of the beanstalk. They did not find the princess at Jack's house, so they had to enter the giant's place to search for her. When they left, Roderick grabbed a knife and threatened Jack that he would kill him if he didn't give him the rest of the beans. Jack surrendered and gave them the wallet. He kept one of the beans without their knowledge and put it inside a necklace hanging around his neck. While walking, Elmont found a guide left by Isabelle so they could find their way back. They followed the tracks left by Isabelle, and Jack found the book that he gave to Isabelle. Jack said that Isabelle was definitely close to this place, and there was something big that attracted her, and she was currently stuck in a problem. Elmont ordered the men to split into 2 groups. After that, he, Crow, and Jack saw a group of sheep and tried to catch a lamb from them, but they fell into a trap by mistake. Elmont began trying to cut the rope. Then he noticed something approaching them, so they quickly hid, and the giant was coming to the place. And when he reached them, he grabbed the sheep and ate it. Then he lifted the tree that Craw was hiding behind and tried to escape, but the giant ran after him and caught him. At the time the giant was about to eat Crow, Elmont arrived and stabbed him with a sword in his leg. But the giant was not affected. He grabbed both of them and took them to the giant's lair. Jack went after the giant without anyone noticing. Meanwhile, the second group reached the waterfall. The guard ordered Roderick to rest until he found another way, but Roderick tricked him and pushed him off the cliff. Suddenly, a giant appeared and grabbed Wick and ate him. Then another giant appeared, but Roderick arrived just in time to the crown and managed to save himself. Meanwhile, Isabelle was held captive by the giants. The leader of the giants asked her how she got here, but she insisted that she would not answer. He asked her if anyone had come with her here. She said she came alone, but the leader of the giants, Valen, knew that she was descended from King Eric. Suddenly, another giant arrived with Crow and Elmont. The leader of the giants began questioning them, but Crow refused to speak, so the giant picked him up and ate him. Jack was following the giant. Valen threatened Elmont that he would eat Isabelle if he did not confess, but another giant appeared and told him that he had no right to do so, because he was the one who captured Isabelle. Suddenly, Roderick appeared wearing the crown. All the giants knelt before him. Their leader, Valen, also ordered to kneel. Isabelle and Elmont were happy to see that, but they were shocked when they discovered that Roderick's purpose of wearing the crown was evil. Roderick ordered the giants to fight with him. He planned to descend to the earth with the giants and destroy other cities and seize them, ordered them to prepare for battle at dawn. Fallon was upset about that. Meanwhile, Jack was still looking for Isabelle. He heard her screaming while she was with one of the giants. The giant threw Elmont onto a piece of dough. Jack arrived in the room and tried to free Isabelle, but he couldn't. The giant took a musket and stuck it in the dough to secure Elmont. Then he took it to put it in the oven. Jack climbed to the top shelf. The giant grabbed Isabelle and pulled her out of the cage. He grabbed the knife to cut her, but at the last moment, Jack grabbed another knife from above. He jumped and stabbed the giant in the back. The giant staggered and hit his back against the wall. The knife kept getting stuck more and more, and he died. Then they escaped from the place. The giants saw that the giant had died, and they knew that Isabelle and Jack were looking for a way back. Jack and his team followed the course of the river because it would lead them back home. But when they reached the waterfall near the beans, they discovered that there was a sleeping giant there to guard the place. Jack had a plan to kill the giant. They took a beehive, opened his helmet, and put the hive inside. Then they closed the helmet and moved away from the giant. The giant woke up, and the bees started stinging him. In the end, he managed to remove the helmet, but after he removed it, a bee approached him, stung him, and he fell from above. The 3 rejoiced in their victory. Jack and the princess descended on the beanstalk, while Elmont stayed behind to kill Roderick and reclaim the crown. The army was stationed below the beanstalk, and there was a group of priests praying, but the giant that fell from above fell on them. When the king saw what happened, he was certain that the story of the giants was real and not just a legend. He ordered the soldiers to cut down the beanstalk. The giants were preparing to attack the land, but when they reached the edge of the cliff, Elmont came out and attacked Roderick. A battle raged between Elmont and Roderick inside the heart of the stone statue, so the giants could not help him. In the end, Roderick managed to defeat Elmont. He was about to kill him and throw him off the cliff, but Elmont managed to break Roderick's hand and take the knife he was holding and killed him. The giants managed to break the statue and reached Roderick, but he was already dead. Phelan took the crown and placed it on his head, becoming the king of the giants once again. All the giants knelt before him. The soldiers managed to destroy the beanstalk. The beanstalk began to move and destroy everything in its path. Elmont took advantage of the situation and descended. Jack grabbed a rope of beans and took Isabel with him. He clung to the rope and threw himself and Isabel onto a pile of straw, and they managed to survive. Elmont threw himself into the water before reaching the ground. The beans fell and began to approach the palace. The king learned that his daughter was still alive, saw her, and asked her what had happened. She told him everything. The king called Jack, thanked him for what he had done, and gave him a bag of money as a reward. Jack took his book and gave it to Isabel so she wouldn't forget him. The giants saw the bag of beans that fell from Roderick, so they took it and threw it in the water. The grains began to move and form bridges leading to the ground. Jack felt sad for leaving the princess, but he quickly became joyful when he saw that his white horse was still there. He went to the horse, and when he looked into the water, he saw the reflection of the giants descending to the ground. The giants had already arrived, and Jack was riding on his horse. HD arrived and began to warn the king and his soldiers. Everyone started to flee, and the giants chased them and began to kill them. The king entered the city, and the guards began to close the gates. The guards poured oil into the water surrounding the city and set it on fire to prevent the giants from advancing. Jack arrived at the last moment and managed to jump into the city. Valen arrived and hung on the bridge, but the humans shot arrows at him and he fell into the boiling oil. But he was still alive. The guards were trying to close the gate, but the giants brought hooks and threw them at the gate and started pulling it to open it. The humans continued to try to close the gate. The king asked Isabel and Jack to go to his room, where there was a nearby lighthouse. He told them that they needed to light the lighthouse to warn the neighboring kingdoms. They take a shortcut and head there. Humans were resisting strongly. The soldiers began pulling the door with all their might, and the king began to help them. But the giants began uprooting trees, setting them on fire and throwing fire at the soldiers. Isabel and Jack arrived at the king's room in the palace, but the ground began to collapse beneath their feet, and Valen emerged from below. The giants continued to pull the door, and the humans continued to resist. The humans took spears and began to launch them at the giants, killing them, but the giants threw the spears and destroyed them. Valen was searching for the princess in the palace. After a short search, he managed to find her and Jack. They tried to escape, but Valen ultimately managed to capture the princess. He was about to eat her, but Jack grabbed an axe and attacked the giant. But the giant easily caught him. Jack took the necklace from around his neck, which contained the last bean, and threw it into the giant's mouth. The giant threw Jack and Isabel on the ground and began to suffer. The bean exploded inside him and began to grow and grow. In the end, the giant shattered and turned into pieces. The crown fell beside Jack. Meanwhile, the giants managed to open the bridge. The humans closed their last protective gate, but the giants easily broke through it. The soldiers took a defensive position, but before the two parties attacked each other, the beans began to destroy the palace. The giants threw down their weapons and bowed before the king. In fact, they were bowing before Jack after he took the crown. Jack wore the crown and advanced, becoming the king of the giants. In this way, Jack was able to return the giants to their original homeland and help the city. Jack and Isabel got married afterwards. We saw Jack telling the story of the giants to his children after becoming the king of the city.